Hello, beautiful people. This episode has a title that might surprise you. You might wonder where we're headed, because somewhere along the way, modern society has turned the phrase making love into a euphemism for sex. And while sex can absolutely be an expression of love, that's not where making love begins. In fact, making love doesn't begin in the bedroom at all. It begins at breakfast. It begins in the way you greet each other after work. It begins when one of you is upset and the other chooses curiosity instead of criticism. It begins when someone reaches for your hand, when you pause long enough to really listen, when you remember their coffee order, when you apologize sincerely, when you laugh together over something completely ridiculous. Those moments are making love. They're creating it. Because love isn't only something we feel, it's something we build, moment by moment, choice by choice. I've worked with many, many couples over the years, and something I've noticed again and again is that when couples tell me they're struggling with intimacy, they're rarely talking only about sex. They're talking about disconnection. They miss feeling chosen. They miss feeling seen. They miss laughing together. They miss touching without expectation. They miss being a team. And sometimes they don't even realize that's what they're grieving. They simply say, "We don't feel like we used to." I often imagine relationships as gardens. No one plants a beautiful garden and then never waters it again. Love is no different. It isn't sustained by the memory of how you once felt. It's sustained by the care you continue to offer. Tiny acts, repeated often. A garden doesn't flourish because of one spectacular day of sunshine. It flourishes because of consistent tending. Relationships are much the same. One of the biggest myths we carry is that passion should just happen. That if we truly love one another, desire should appear effortlessly. But love and desire don't exist in isolation from the rest of our lives. Think about your own day. If you've spent the day feeling criticized, overwhelmed, unseen, or emotionally alone, it's hardly surprising that your body isn't immediately ready for deep intimacy later that evening. Our nervous systems remember the whole day, not just what happens after the lights go out. That's why I often say foreplay begins long before the bedroom. It begins in kindness, in shared responsibility, in appreciation, in affection that expects nothing in return, in feeling emotionally safe. I'm working with a couple right now, and you can guess which gender spoke these words. One of the partners of the couple relationship talked about wanting to feel loved, wanting to really experience feeling desired and loved. And aside from their desire for sex and lovemaking in that physical way, a big part of what they were looking for, wanting to feel again, was that complete desire and love of their partner. There's a beautiful question I sometimes ask couples. When do you feel most loved? And the answers are almost never what people expect. No one says, when they bought me expensive jewelry. Instead, I hear things like, I feel loved when they put their phone down and really listen. I feel loved when they make me a cup of tea without me asking. I feel loved when they reach for my hand while we're walking. I feel loved when they notice I'm overwhelmed and quietly help. I feel loved when they tell me that they're proud of me. Isn't that interesting? So much of love lives in the ordinary. Another thing I know is that Pressure and intimacy rarely thrive together. Many couples unknowingly place enormous pressure on themselves. Pressure to initiate, pressure to always be interested, pressure to perform, pressure to make every intimate moment extraordinary. But intimacy isn't a performance. It's a conversation. It's two people saying, I'm here. I trust you. I choose you. When we replace performance with presence, something beautiful happens. People relax, bodies soften, connection grows. One of the healthiest shifts couples can make is to reclaim touch that isn't trying to lead anywhere. A hug, holding hands, resting your head on someone's shoulder, a kiss on the forehead, sitting close on the couch. Touch simply because you enjoy being close to one another, not because it's expected to become something more. Sometimes the safest touch is the touch that asks for nothing. When you model the behavior that you're seeking, that is, if you want to feel love and loved, to be that, to show love, to express love and kindness and appreciation. So many times couples get stuck in the waiting for the other person to do what they want, to desire them more, to step up and initiate sex more, to be more loving toward them in everyday moments. And in fact, when you begin this first, when you don't wait for your partner to initiate, to change, to step up, you do this yourself, something beautiful grows. You nurture the garden. You make deposits in loving actions, kind words, authentic, genuine attention and appreciation. And it becomes pretty hard for your partner to not notice this, and they begin the same. There's another question I love asking. What helps you feel emotionally safe? Notice I didn't ask what turns you on, because safety isn't the opposite of passion. Very often it's the foundation of it. When we feel emotionally safe, we become more playful, more curious, more open, more willing to be vulnerable, more able to laugh, more able to ask for what we need, more able to say, can we slow down? Or can you hold me for a while? Or simply, I've had a hard day. There is incredible intimacy in honesty. One of the most beautiful practices I encourage couples to begin is a weekly conversation. Not about logistics, not about who forgot to empty the dishwasher, a conversation about you. Questions like, what made you feel loved this week? What felt difficult? What have I been doing that's helping? What have I stopped doing? What do you need more of from me? Imagine asking those questions every week. Imagine how different a relationship might feel after a year of those conversations. If there's one thing I'd love you to take away from today's episode, it's this. Making love isn't something that begins when two people undress. It begins when two people decide to keep turning towards one another again and again and again. It happens in the kitchen, on walks, in car rides, during difficult conversations, over morning coffee, while folding laundry, in apologies, in forgiveness, in laughter, in tiny moments that seem almost insignificant, until you realize those tiny moments become the relationship. So this week, I'd love to leave you with a simple invitation. Take 10 minutes, just 10, sit together, put your phones away, ask each other 2 questions. How are you, really? And what would help you feel most loved this week? Then listen, without fixing, without interrupting, just listen. Because sometimes the most loving thing we can offer another person is our undivided attention. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If this conversation resonated with you and you'd like a gentle way to put these ideas into practice, I've created something I'm incredibly excited about called Making Love, a collection of guided relationship experiences designed to help couples reconnect through meaningful conversations and simple rituals they can share together. The first experiences will be available soon, and I'd love for you to be among the first to know when they arrive. Until next time, be kind to yourself, be kind to each other, and remember, love isn't something we simply fall into. It's something we make every single day. Love is built in the ordinary. Drop me a note here. Let me know if you're interested in getting on the list for receiving this collection of guided relationship experiences. I'll be in touch soon. Thank you so much again for listening. This is Dorothy Zennuriye Juno. Namaste.